You ready to film another exciting episode of Real Good at Doing Stuff?
I can't wait.
Gotta be more exciting for TV.
I can't wait.
Okay, good. There we go.
Real good. Can you do stuff? Are you real good? Can you do stuff? Can you do it good enough? Are you real good at doing stuff? Can you do it good enough? Are you real good at doing stuff?
All right. Welcome back to another inconceivably exciting episode of Real Good at Doing Stuff. Today, it's a sad state of affairs around here. Because daggone Cleetus McFarland and George come up here and blew the old 2Runner up. Well, that's kind of clickbait. It's clickbait. It's free clickbait. I didn't charge you anything for it. But anyhow, it's kind of true and kind of not true. Long story short, Garrett called me and was going to be in the neighborhood, wanted to experience driving this fine piece of machinery around the neighborhood a little bit. And I was like, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do it. And then I happened to watch a video of him driving that Kyle guy's minivan around, and I was a little bit concerned. So I get the bright idea of switching this thing over to E, at least temporarily, just to kind of make sure I got something left when they're done. And that was a good plan, but it kind of backfired on me. All right, well, long story short, we kind of figured out what happened here. It's popped head gaskets. It still runs and everything, but it's not 100%. So there's a couple reasons that's happened. The main being right down here. If we can, I'm gonna zoom in here, maybe you can see it. Yep. Right there, that hole. That's supposed to be a hole. That's supposed to be filled with a pipe plug. It was filled with a pipe plug. The pipe plug fell out. All right, so what happens when that happens is all of a sudden we're gonna get way more boost than we bargained for. And we're going to run out of fuel injector, and we're going to pop head gaskets. And that's what's gone down. So at the end of the day, there's really nobody that I can blame except for myself, because that thing, I'm sure, came from wherever who makes these wastegates with that plug in it. I guess the moral of the story here is when you have something like that, check to make sure it's tight. Just because it's in there doesn't mean that it's tight. Obviously, this one wasn't tight, and eventually it vibrated out. And here we are. There's some other variables here. One, we got stock heads. They're kind of flimsy. The main other one is this has ARP head studs, but they are the cheaper. They're kind of the bottom line head studs. They're not even ARP 2000s. I can't remember what they call those things, but they don't torque very much, and they, with the sizes that a LS uses, they don't hold a lot. It's just so that didn't help nothing. But at the end of the day, it's easy fix. I'm going to rip things apart, and we're going to upgrade to some ARP custom-age 625 head studs that are much stouter, torque to a lot more. We're going to put some Cometic head gaskets on here instead of the stock ones, and we're just going to try to, like I always say, never repair, always improve. We're going to make things a little better. There's also some stuff I want to do in here. I want to weld a bung in my radiator so I can have a pressure sensor, and that was just something I can hook to the holly. Just have another that way. If we start to pressurize the radiator, I'll know about it. I can build tables off of that if I want to, but I kind of need to get the radiator out to do that. Also, this pipe here, when you can see the deflection mark here, when this thing gets under boost, it's pushing forward into the radiator. So I'm going to try to work on tweaking things up here so I can get the radiator move forward. If I can get it go forward a 1/4 inch, I'll be good, I believe. And we may make some modifications to the intercoolers down there, some ram air type stuff happening. Just a few things I want to kind of spruce up a little bit. So, anyhow, let's get started. Let's rip it apart and make some changes.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats.
They are eating the cats. They are eating the cats. They are eating the cats. They are eating the cats. Yeah, 1, 2, buckle my shoe. What you gonna do when they come for you? Yeah, 3, 4, knock on your door. If they'll eat your cat, then they'll eat you too. They are eating the cats.
They're eating the pets.
They are eating the cats.
They're eating the dog.
They are eating the cats. They are eating the cats. How delicious and nutritious a house cat can be. 0 caffeine, high in protein and vitamin C. They are eating the cats. 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 They ate all our dang cats.
Alright, real good stuff, doers. Got our cylinder heads off. They look super duper. We'll take a razor blade to these things and clean them up, get them ready to go back on. Head gaskets, as expected. Wavy gravy. So here we got a big old bubble. But these MLS gaskets generally, when they're in good shape, they'll be flat, just like you took them out of the box. But when they get a bunch of heat blowed through them, they warp up and get wavy like this. That's how you can tell. So anyhow, ARP has been kind enough to send us a set of custom age 625 head studs. Now these torque, this is what we're taking out. This is the Pro Series, the 8740s, whatever they are. They torque to 70. These torque to 100, right? So they have a lot more clamping force. And basically they're more gooder at holding the heads on. Now, would that have fixed our problem or kept this from happening? Maybe, because it happens so fast. These things just get overwhelmed. But long term, definitely not. You can't, what happens when you overboost like that in our case is we run out of injector and we're hammering stuff pretty quick. So in some ways we're lucky that it does this quick, so to stop. But either way, these are, for our situation down the road, this is going to be much better. All right, so let's work on putting all this stuff back together. All right, so razor blade the deck, get all that old sealant and stuff from the head gasket off, get clean, brake clean, rag, blow everything out of the way. Cleanliness is super important here. You don't want to trap any trash between the head and the head gasket or anything in there for obvious reasons. Next generally would be to clean the threads. Anybody knows me or ever worked for me knows that I'm kind of a Nazi when it comes to clean threads. That's how this stuff works. If you have crusty old threads and just crank and some of these fasteners is not cheap. If you just go cranking them in the block and they don't go in smoothly, something's up. There's a reason for that. ARP actually sells a really good tool to chase LS threads just specifically for this, and it's a good thing to have in your toolbox. Get all the crust and boogers out, take some brake clean afterwards and blow it out. You have to do this. It's very important. The threads top and bottom need to be clean and in good shape. If they're not, let's figure out why. Put a thread chaser in there, maybe a tap if you have to, whatever, to get the situation better. There's no excuse for not getting this right, period. All right, so I'm on the bottom, I've already done this in this case, we've already cleaned these threads. But I'm gonna put a little bit of anti-seize on the bottom just because I don't want nothing sticking nowhere when next time you have to work on this thing. For me, it's just a good idea. I put a little bit on the bottom. Get one side of the motor, the head studs in. I'm gonna go ahead and lay the head on so I can seal this up. I don't blow any trash in it, and then I'll do the other side. All right, Comatic MLX head gasket going on. So this should be an improvement as well. Those other ones work pretty good. People make a lot of power with them, but I want to go ahead and put something stout on here. They're marked front. You gotta put them on right or you're gonna block the wrong holes off. All right, it's time to lube the threads. On the LS's, a lot of times I'll brush the lube on the threads before I put the head on. It's a whole lot easier because they're kind of down of a pocket and it's just easier to do it first and then slide the head on. And then I'll individually lube the nuts, the threads and the underside of the nuts as I go together. And all this is an extremely critical point. That's how this stuff works. It works off torque based off of whatever lubricant you're using. The ARP stuff works fine. Sometimes we use it, but generally speaking, we use number 3 around here. You guys know about that. Mooresville, North Carolina pretty much runs on number 3. It's everywhere. You can get it at the gas station, the Dollar General, whatever you want. But anyhow, it's time for some Extreme pressure lube. Exactly 1 tube.
pressure loop. Exactly 1, 2. I taught the beds down.
All right, so just when you thought things couldn't get any weirder, here we are on Pete's Psychedelic Engine Emporium. The 2Runner is all back together, ready to do a little more 2 running. We've got a pressure sensor now in the radiator, which is good for knowing. And I'll show you what we're going to do with that in the future episode. Eric Yost, Customs by Biggin, has made me some ram air units for the intercoolers, and I'll show you what that does. Intercoolers, air-to-air intercoolers aren't much good. Steady state if you don't get some air going across them. So we're gonna force some air through those things with those. Anyhow, like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Merch is at HarrellEngine.com. I'll see you on the next episode. Whatever. Who cares?